Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a homicide detail. An attractive divorcee disappears from her home. There's no lead to her whereabouts. There's evidence of foul play. Your job? Find her.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 10th. It was mild in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. We're on our way out from the office, and it was 11:15 a.m. when we got to 2962 Reservoir Street. Front door.
You the policeman?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Harrison?
That's right. Come on in.
Thank you. My partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, how do you do?
How are you, ma'am?
I was expecting you.
Yes, ma'am.
Other officers said there'd be somebody here from the detectives to see me. You men from the detectives?
That's right, Miss Harrison.
I got some coffee on if you'd like a cup while we talk.
No, thank you.
No, thank you, ma'am.
Okay. You want to sit down there? We can get started on this.
All right.
I made some little notes this morning after the other policeman left. I thought it might help me to remember.
Uh-huh.
They didn't find anything when they went to Josephine's house, did they?
No, they haven't. I wonder if you'd tell us what you know about her disappearance.
I'd be glad to. Last time I saw her was Friday. The 6th, last Friday.
Mm-hmm. Where was that?
Out in her yard. She was hanging up clothes, and we got to talking, about neighborhood stuff.
Yes, ma'am.
We talked for a little while, her hanging up clothes, and I was working around the yard.
Did there seem to be anything wrong then?
Well, what do you mean?
Well, did she seem upset about anything?
Well, not that she told me about. We were pretty close. She told me just about everything happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
When her and Jordan were still married, we used to get together all the time, have a little barbecue, maybe take in the drive-in movie.
That's her husband?
Yeah, Jordan Allen.
She's divorced then?
Yeah. I got the interlocutory about 6 months ago. Not final yet.
Where's Mr. Allen now?
Well, the last I heard, he was working down San Diego.
Do you know where we might get in touch with him?
No, not right off. Must be some letters over to Josephine's, though. He was always writing her.
Was there any trouble between them?
They got a divorce.
Well, that's not what I mean. I mean after. Did they have any arguments, any disagreements?
Oh, off and on. Jordan wanted to get back together again, always asking her to call off the decree.
Mm-hmm. Did he see her often?
I don't think they got together in the last couple of months. I know Josephine got some phone calls from him, though.
From San Diego?
Yeah.
Did Mrs. Allen say anything to you about taking vacation, anything like that?
No, if she'd had anything like that in mind, she'd have told me. We were pretty close.
Did she have any men friends that you know of?
Oh, she's a handsome woman, Mr. Friday. She had a lot of them.
Well, did she see any one person more than the others, would you know?
David Lansing. They used to go out quite a bit. I think David wanted to marry her as soon as the divorce was final.
Has he been around lately, would you know?
Not since Josephine disappeared.
How about before that?
I had a date with her the very night before. Went out to dinner and then went dancing.
Any trouble between them, would you know?
I don't want to get mixed up in anything, Mr. Friday. You can understand that, can't you?
Yes, ma'am, we can. But if you know anything about Mrs. Allen's disappearance, we'll have to ask that you tell us.
It's just that I don't want David to find out about it.
Well, he won't hear it from us.
That's a promise?
Yes, ma'am.
How about you?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, then, if you ask me, I'd say that David had something to do with Josephine's being gone.
Why do you say that?
Because they were always fighting. I could hear them all the way over here.
What'd they argue about, do you know?
Well, David wanted to marry her. And she wouldn't tell him whether she would or not until after the divorce was final. The way she put it, until she got the papers, she was still a married woman.
Lansing didn't like that, huh?
No, not a bit. About 10 days ago, I was over there. My TV was on the blink, and I went over to see one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
David was there, and it wasn't no time before they was at it, yelling and screaming. Kind of made me embarrassed. That's when he said it.
What was that?
Said for Josephine to get rid of Jordan, or David would get rid of her.
We continued to question the Harrison woman about Mrs. Allen. She could give us no reason for her disappearance. Fang and I left and went next door. We checked through the house. It was exactly the way the two uniformed officers had found it that morning. The shades on all of the windows were drawn. None of the furniture seemed to be disturbed. There was no sign of a struggle. On the dining room table, there was a setting for two people. Silverware, napkins, glasses, they're all ready to be used. On the plates themselves was a complete meal. None of the food had been touched. We looked for Mrs. Allen's luggage. There was no way of being sure, but apparently none of her things had been taken. We went on through the house and out into the backyard. There was no sign of anything wrong out there either.
Sure doesn't figure, does it?
Well,
Table all set, food, none of it touched.
well, there's an answer someplace.
Yeah?
Let's check the garage.
All right.
I got it.
Well, no sign here.
No. You want to check the stuff at the back?
Yeah.
Trunk here. Look at this. Looks like stains of some kind.
Better take a look, huh? The way it's wrapped up, they're going to mail it.
Yeah. Labels and everything here.
A rope.
Yeah.
You got anything to cut this with?
There might be something here. Wait a minute. Here, we can try this.
Oh, thanks.
Keep those knots.
Yeah. Here. Give me a hand with the lock, will you?
Yeah. It's coming out. There we are. All right. We know where she is.
Yeah.
Let's find out who put her there. The crew from the crime lab was called, and they came out to go over the house and the garage. Frank and I called the office and told them what we'd found. We checked the labels on the trunk. They were addressed to a David Lansing on Rowena Avenue out in Glendale. We went back to the woman who'd put in the original call. From her, we got a complete description of Lansing, and we called it into the office. We found that he had an arrest record listing several drunk charges and 2 major 415s, fights. While the men from the crime lab continued their investigation on the scene, Frank and I drove over to see Lansing. He wasn't home. We talked to his landlady, but she told us that she hadn't seen him in several days. She was unable to tell us where he was employed. We checked his room, and we questioned her about his car. She gave us the name and business address of his roommate. We drove over to see him. He worked in a large television store on Pico Boulevard.
Yes, sir. Something I can do for you?
I'd like to see Mark Gilson.
That's me.
Police officers, Mr. Gilson. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
How are you? What can I do for you?
We'd like to ask you a couple questions about David Lansing.
Dave in trouble again?
Do you know where he is?
No, I haven't seen him for a couple of days.
You have no idea where you can find him?
Well, if I had, you'd sure get it. Say, can you tell me what this is all about?
It'd be better if we talked to Lansing about it.
Yeah, if he's in the beef again, I'd just as soon stay out of it. Won't make me unhappy.
When'd you see him last?
The day?
That's it.
Let me see. I guess it was Friday night.
He say anything to you that might give us a lead as to where we can find him?
No, I was home when he came in. He was pretty bugged about something.
Do you know what it was?
Well, only a couple of things ever got Dave upset, his boss or his girl.
Do you know his girl?
No, never met her. Dave was all the time talking about how we were going to get together some night, have dinner, take in a few places. We never quite got around to it, though.
Uh-huh. You ever say anything about it?
No, not much. He was pretty crazy about her, wanted to marry her just as soon as her divorce was final.
What was he mad about when you saw him last, you know?
Well, I guess it was Josephine. That's his girl.
Yeah, we know.
And he was sore about her. She's got this husband down south someplace. I don't know, either San Pedro or San Diego, somewhere down there.
Yeah?
He was trying to get Josephine to come back to him, call off the divorce. He's always calling about it, trying to see her. Made Dave sore. The way he put it, he and Joe had gotten into a beef about it that day.
Mm-hmm. That was Friday?
Yeah. He had a couple of drinks before he got home, and while he was there and we were talking, he had a couple more. Got pretty mean.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Dave doesn't drink too good. All he needs is a couple. He thinks he can lick the world. He gets pretty mean. I don't like to have him around when he's loaded.
You give any idea where he was going?
No, I left him at the apartment.
What time was that?
Oh, I don't know. About 6:30, around in there. I had a date with a girl. She lives out in the Santa Monica Canyon. Takes about an hour to drive out there. I left about 6:30 because I met this girl at 7:30.
Lansing was still in the apartment, huh?
Yeah. He's just sitting there pouring the booze away. I told him take it easy, slow down. He said for me not to worry. Said he had to decide on something. I figured it was about Josephine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dave really loved that girl. All this stuff with her ex-husband was just eating at him. I guess he was just trying to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing about Dave. Takes him a while to make up his mind about what to do, but once he decides, there's nothing that can stop him.
That's so.
Oh, yeah. Takes him a while, but he's always right.
No, not always.
What do you mean?
Looks like he missed this time. Frank and I went back to the office. We got out a local broadcast and an APB on David Lansing, along with the information on his automobile. We made arrangements for a stakeout to be placed on his home. A call was put through to the firm who employed him, but they told us that he hadn't shown up for work that week. Frank and I went back to the crime lab, and we met with Lieutenant Lee Jones. He went over the physical evidence found at the murder scene. The trunk itself had been checked over, as well as the ropes it was tied with and the mailing label. There was nothing about the trunk to tell where it might have come from. The rope was of a common variety that could be purchased anywhere. The knots, however, were of a type generally used by seamen to secure heavy articles. We made arrangements to obtain samples of Lansing's handwriting for comparison with the writing on the label. The evidence was marked and booked. The next morning, Frank and I met with Captain Lorman, and we went over what we had. It was decided that in David Lansing, we had a prime suspect. After we left the city hall, we started to check out the people listed in Lansing's package as friends or acquaintances. The first one we talked to was a Miss Dodie Fredericks.
Honey, he's a bum.
Well, how long have you known him?
About 10 years we went together. Even thought about getting married. It was all a big deal. Right now, I don't much care if I never see him again.
And when'd you see him last?
Let's see. I guess it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday night.
It was last week?
That's right. He came in the place. We talked.
What place?
Bar over on 6th. I worked there as a sort of hostess.
What'd Lansing say when you saw him?
Not much. I did most of the talking, just like usual.
Mm-hmm.
Just came in, sat in a booth. Always sits in a booth. Ordered a drink, and we talked. It was kind of slow, so we just sat and talked.
What'd you talk about?
The old days. I'm not going to give you a line. I was in love with Dave. Always was. Right from the first time I saw him, I wanted to marry him. Everything was going good until he met this Allen broad.
All right.
All of a sudden, he figures I ain't good enough for him or something like that. Anyway, he drops me right in the middle of the street, takes off.
You say anything about Mrs. Allen Saturday night?
Honey, he don't talk much else. All the time it's what she said or what she did. All the time that way.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think she was the Taj Mahal or something the way he talked about her.
Yeah, but what'd he say Saturday night?
Just about old Josephine. I tell you, I'm so sick of that name I could scream.
I see.
Big deal with them, too. He's always around her, but when he's got a problem, who do you think he comes running to?
We wouldn't know.
I'll tell you, me. She gives him the bad time, and he comes to me to get over it. Always been like that. Meets some girl, and right away it's the real thing. Always ends up the same way. He comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Thinks he's a real big man all the time with the chicks. One of these days, I'm going to tell him that. Tell him to leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Going to tell him as soon as he comes back.
What do you mean?
Hmm?
About when he comes back. Do you know where he is?
No, but when he was in here Saturday, he was broke. Borrowed $30 from me.
Yeah.
Said he had to leave town.
We continued to talk to Dodie Fredericks. We got as much information as we could from her. She told us that Lansing had said he was going to San Francisco. We asked her if he had any friends in the Bay City. She supplied us a list of names. We went back to the office and got in touch with the authorities in San Francisco and asked them to check on the suspect for us. We put in a call to the coroner's office. The body had been posted and the time of death was set at some time Friday night. We checked out the rest of Lansing's friends and associates without result. We re-questioned the suspect's roommate, and we went over his apartment again, but we failed to turn up any evidence that might aid us in taking him into custody. 2 days passed. Saturday, June 14th. Frank and I checked in for work.
How's it going, Joe?
All right.
Say, you got a date tonight?
What was that?
I say you got a date tonight.
What do you mean?
Well, I just wondered if maybe you'd like to drop over for dinner. You know, kind of sit around, talk.
Well, I didn't have anything planned.
Good. When it's all set, I'll give Faye a call.
Okay. I get it. Homicide, Friday. Yeah. When'd you get him? Be right over. Right. Come on. We got to get over to the main jail.
What's the matter?
They found Lansing. We went over to the main jail and picked up David Lansing. He'd been arrested that morning and booked for drunk, violation of Section 4127A of the Los Angeles Municipal Code. As soon as the officers at the jail had made sure of his identity, they called us. He was taken back to the city hall to handwriting. An exemplar of his handwriting was taken for comparison with the printing on the label found on the trunk. Frank and I took the suspect back to the interrogation room for questioning. He was fairly sober, but he complained of a bad headache. Frank went down the hall and brought back some coffee. We told Lansing of Josephine Allen's death. It didn't seem to make any difference to him.
It's hot.
Get it down. It'll help you.
Isn't anything that'll do me any good. I just got to wait it out.
All right, Lansing, you want to tell us why you did it?
Hmm?
You want to tell us why you killed Josephine Allen?
I'd like to help you out. There's only one problem. I didn't do it.
Well, the evidence doesn't point that way.
Well, you better take another look.
Were you in the service, Lansing?
No, I got deferred. Bad ear.
You ever do any work in the Merchant Marine?
No. I get sick on the boats at MacArthur Park.
Never did any sea duty, huh?
No. I'm the kind of fellow that can only take a shower.
Yeah.
Note for you, Friday.
Thanks. Frank?
Yeah.
Want to step out here?
Hmm. What do you got?
Note here from Don Meyer.
Yeah.
They checked the exemplars of Lansing against the label on the trunk.
Yeah.
No match at all. Kind of looks like we might have the wrong man.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The information from Handwriting Division on the results of the comparison made it possible that we had the wrong suspect in custody. The main two pieces of physical evidence we had were the knots used in tying the rope around the trunk and the label. On both counts, apparently David Lansing was out. We set out for more coffee for the suspect, and we continued to question him.
Look, I'll spell it out for you. I didn't have anything to do with killing her.
You saw her Friday, didn't you?
Yeah, but that don't mean I killed her.
Well, tell us what happened when you saw her.
From where?
From when she opened the door.
I went over to see her about 7:30.
Friday night?
Yeah, I went over to try to talk some sense into her.
Were you two having trouble?
Yeah.
About what?
The same thing all the time. I loved her. I loved her a lot. I wanted to marry the girl. All the time, his ex-husband's hanging around, trying to get her to come back. I had a belly full. I wanted to get things straightened out, so I went to see her.
Yeah.
I didn't call and tell her. She was pretty hacked about it. Said I should have called. She got real sore.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her what was wrong. She never acted like that before. I wanted to know what the beef was.
All right.
So she filled me in on how Jordan was coming up from San Diego. They had some things to talk about. Big deal. All the time they were talking. Him trying to get her to come back. Got to the point where I didn't know where I stood.
Mm-hmm.
She told me to come in, but she said I couldn't stay long because she was expecting Jordan. Said he was coming up for dinner.
Hmm.
I told her I wanted to marry her. I told her to make up her mind once and for all not to keep me on the string anymore.
What'd she say?
Told me to call her Saturday morning. Said she'd have something to tell me then. Go ahead. The way she put it, things were going to work out. After we talked for a little bit, I left. She told me she didn't want me there when the ex got to the place.
What time did you leave?
I don't know.
Well, you must have some kind of an idea.
Well, maybe 7:30 or 8, around in there. I'm not sure. I was pretty sore when I walked out. I didn't pay a lot of attention.
Where'd you go then?
I went home for a while. I sat around, and I went over to see a guy I know runs a little club on Alvarado. We sat there until the place closed, and after that I went home with him.
Why didn't you go on to your place?
No reason. He lived pretty close. We spent the night there.
Why'd you stop going to work?
What?
We checked with the place where you work. They say you haven't been to work this week.
I guess that's because I couldn't get in touch with Josephine.
How do you mean that?
I tried to call her Saturday morning. I didn't get any answer, so I figured that Jordan had talked her into coming back. I just went out on a run.
Did you try to see her?
Hmm?
Well, did you go over to the house and try to see her?
Yeah, I went over Saturday night. There wasn't any answer. Shades were all pulled down. I figured sure she'd left town.
What'd you do?
Went down to a bar on 6th. Saw a girl I know. We talked, and I guess I got pretty loaded. The next couple of days are kind of foggy.
You ever met Jordan Allen?
Yeah, once. Put it down that we didn't get along too good.
You know anything about him?
What do you mean?
Well, what kind of business is he in?
I think it's some kind of photography thing. He sells cameras or something like that.
You know anything about his background?
Not much. I only met the guy once. We didn't get along too good then. Near as I can remember from what Josephine told me, he worked on a boat.
Yeah.
Merchant marine for about 6 years.
You sure about that?
It's what I heard. Take it from there.
All right, we'll do that.
It's going to make a difference?
But it might to you.
How do you figure?
You're lucky you get seasick. The suspect was returned to the main jail where he was held to answer on the drunk charge. We got in touch with Sergeant Tony McGuire down in San Diego and asked him to check on the victim's husband. Frank and I met with Chief of Detectives Thad Brown and Captain Warman. We laid out the information we'd been able to come up with. They agreed that we should drive to the Southland City and talk to Jordan Allen. We checked out a trip car and we drove down to talk to him. We found him at his home, a small clapboard house on B Street. From the way he looked, he'd been in bed when we rang the bell.
Come on in. What do you want to see me about?
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
About what?
When's the last time you saw your wife?
Why?
We'd like to have an answer.
Well, I don't know. Maybe a couple weeks ago.
Bring it down to a day, will you?
Why?
Pretty important to you.
Why to me?
You lay it out any way you want, mister. We asked it simple. You can give us the same kind of an answer now.
Look, you come in here. You're not from Dago. You got no right asking me anything.
Local authorities know we're here. Now, if you want us to ask them to ask the questions, it can be fixed up.
How about it, Alan?
Go ahead.
When did you see your wife last?
Must have been a couple weeks ago. I can't come up with a date for you.
What do you do for a living?
Sell photographic materials.
What kind of a job did you have before that?
First mate on a ship.
How long did you hold down that job?
6.5 years.
How'd you and your wife get along?
We were divorced.
We understand you saw her quite a bit, though.
Once in a while, yeah, not too often.
The way we got it, you were trying to get her to call off the divorce.
You've been listening to a lot of people with big mouths.
They seem to talk pretty straight, mister.
Well, you go and ask them the questions.
All right, Alan, get your clothes on.
What for?
If you don't want to talk here, we can make it downtown.
Well, what do you want to know?
You account for your time last week?
What day?
I'll start with Monday.
Worked.
What'd you do at night?
Took in a movie.
Can you prove that?
Yeah, I took a girl I know. Works in one of the photo shops here in town. Check with her.
What about Tuesday?
Worked during the day. Stayed home Tuesday night.
You got any way to back that up?
No, I was alone.
All right, go ahead.
Wednesday, I had to go out of town. Took a run over to Riverside. Didn't get back till about 1:30.
In the morning?
Yeah.
You prove that?
Look, I can give you the names of the people I was with. You can call them if you have to.
All right.
If there's some way to get away from it, I'd sure appreciate it. I don't like to have them brought into it.
All right.
It's a business thing. The old man buys a lot of stuff from me. I don't want to ruin the contact.
What about Friday night?
Friday night, I was home all night. Didn't feel too good, so I was here all night.
Anybody to vouch for you?
No, I called a couple of people, but there wasn't anybody here.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night, I went out with the same girl I dated Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you want to tell me what this is all about?
You think you know?
Now, how would I know? You guys come in here cause a lot of trouble. How am I supposed to know what it's all about?
All right, Alan, we'll lay it out for you. Your wife's dead.
Josephine?
That's right.
When did it happen?
Last week.
You think I had something to do with it?
Everything we've got points that way.
Well, how do you figure that? Why'd I want to kill her? What reason would I have?
We want you to tell us.
Well, I haven't any. Now, come on, fellas. Tell me the truth. This is a joke, huh? How much did Jeff give you to pull the gag?
No joke.
Look, I don't know what he gave you, but I'll double it. You just tell me the bit, and I'll double your money. I like to get back at Jeff.
It's no joke, Alan. All the evidence we've got points out that you killed your wife. Now, we just want to know why.
You mean you really got a case you can take to court?
We're going to try. Now, how about it? You want to tell us? Alan?
I got scared. That's the only way you'd have known I got scared.
Go ahead.
I saw her Friday night. She said she'd have dinner with me, said we'd have some stuff to talk about. I went up to have dinner with her.
Yeah.
She told me she made up her mind, said she didn't want to get back together.
Mm-hmm.
This past 6 months, I figured it'd work out. All the time I kept calling her, asking her to take me back. All the time.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done anything in the world she asked me to do. She had just taken me back. None of it worked. We sat there, had a couple of drinks, and then she went out in the kitchen and got dinner ready. All the time, I figured sure she was going to say we were going back together.
Go ahead.
I went out in the kitchen with her, and we talked while she put the stuff on the plates. And then she told me she was going to marry this David Lansing. I tried to talk her out of it. I told her it wouldn't work. She just wouldn't listen.
Yeah?
Tried to tell her how she was making a mistake, but she wouldn't listen. She kept telling me to sit down and eat my dinner. Just kept telling me that.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't take any more of it. I couldn't see her going anybody else. You can see that yourself. There wasn't anything else I could do. You can see that, can't you?
Why'd you put Lansing's name on that trunk?
Well, that's where I thought I was smart. I figured I'd have it sent to his place and then pick it up and get rid of it. If I couldn't do that, then he'd get the blame for it. Either way, it would have worked out for me.
All right, you want to get dressed?
Well, you going to take me back to L.A.?
That's right.
I don't much care anymore. As long as she's gone, there isn't much. The big thing is that you know that I really loved her.
Yeah, sure.
No, you got to believe that I did love her. It's important that you believe me. I loved her.
Mm-hmm. It's just one thing.
Yeah.
You had a funny way of showing it, didn't you?
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 18th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Jordan Keith Allen was tried and convicted of murder in the second degree, one count, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Murder in the second degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 5 years to life. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the burglary detail. A jewelry store has been robbed. Merchandise amounting to $5,000 has been stolen. The thief made good his escape. Your job? Find him.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Sunday, September 8th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on our way out to the scene, and it was 10:18 a.m. when we got to 6247 28th Street, the jewelry store.
I'll be right there.
Yes, sir?
It's not a very big place.
Probably more room behind that partition there.
Yeah.
I'm coming. You the police?
Yes, sir, that's right. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I'm glad to meet you.
How you do, sir?
My name's Hemp, Ray Hemp. This is my store.
Yes, sir.
Sorry I kept you waiting. I was back in the kitchen making some tea. I was a little nervous, you know. Thought it might help.
Mm-hmm.
You gentlemen care for some?
No, sir.
No, thanks, sir.
When did you discover the theft?
Well, I got back to the store about 40 minutes ago. Saw what had happened, and I called the police right away.
Is everything like you found it?
Yes, sir.
These cases open?
That's right. I haven't touched anything in here. Didn't want a chance messing anything up.
Yes, sir.
Didn't leave very much, huh?
A couple of watch bands is about all. Really cleaned out the place.
Now, about the watches, what kind were they?
Mostly wrist models, a couple of pocket size.
Uh-huh.
All different brands, but I just got a bunch of long jeans in. Took every one of them.
Yes, sir.
Cleaned me out.
Can you tell us how they got into the store?
Yes. I'll show you how they chopped a hole right through the wall.
All right, sir.
Right through the wall. In the back. Came right through. You can see there. Goes right into the storeroom of the barber shop next door. Sure made a mess of the place. Plaster all over the floor.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much ruined the wall, too.
Yeah.
Wanted to make sure they'd have enough room. See, the hole must be about 3 feet across, Joe.
You can see there, right into the storeroom.
Yes, sir.
I'd better check over there, huh?
Oh, I forgot to tell you. The back door to the barber shop is open. Before you officers arrived, I checked out in the alley and I saw it wide open. I guess that's how they got in.
Who owns the barber shop, Mr. Hemp?
Ed Justin had the place over 15 years.
You know where he lives?
Yes, he isn't home, though. As soon as I saw that hole, I tried to call him.
You can give us his address and phone number, can you?
Yes.
We'll want to talk to him.
I've got one of his cards up front.
All right, sir. We'll check next door.
Look at that hole. Must be a good 3 feet across, wouldn't you say?
Yes, sir.
Here, let me get that door for you. Look at that.
What's that?
Size of that door. Heavy, double lock. Burglar alarm system out in front. On the skylight up there. Doesn't stop him.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll check next door.
That seems like kind of a nice little guy, huh?
Yeah.
Wonder why the thief didn't close the door when he finished.
Probably nothing left to steal.
Yeah.
Take a look at the door here. It doesn't look like it was forced.
Well, Justin might have left it unlocked. Boy, they sure made a mess in here, too.
Yeah, looks like they had a head start.
Huh. The place must use a lot of hair oil.
Yeah, only that's liquid soap there.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't look like there's any tools around.
No.
How you doing?
Take a look.
Want you find something?
Come here.
What?
In the dust here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Impressions?
Looks like a stocking foot, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the guy must have worked with his shoes off.
That's the way I'd call it. You notice right here?
Where?
In the middle of the print? The stains?
Yeah, looks like it could be blood.
Possibly might have cut his foot. What do you think?
Uh-huh.
Well, let's call the crime lab. Have them send a crew out to go over both places. Huh?
Yeah. Joe,
Now?
take a look at the skylight up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's broken. You better check the roof, huh?
All right.
Sure looks like hair, Tony.
Yeah, it's green.
Yeah. There's the drain pipe there. Might have used that to get up.
Mm-hmm. We'll have the crew check it. Let's go back in.
Yeah. Mr. Hemp?
Yes?
Find out anything?
Well, we're not sure yet, sir. I wonder if you could tell us, is there some way to get to the roof of the building here?
Oh, yes. Come on, I'll show you. There. You see? Up in the corner. Trap door.
Mm-hmm.
Hinged. Swings right up. Been a while since I've used it.
You have something we can use to get up there?
Mm-hmm. I've got a ladder. I'll get it.
All right, sir. You want me to give you a hand with that?
Oh, I can get it.
All right. Here, you better let me help you with that.
I'll swing my end over, and you can walk it right up under the trap door.
All right, careful now. All right.
How's that?
That's fine. That'll get it. You want to steady the ladder, Frank?
Yeah. Can you get it?
No, this bolt's stuck. Just a minute.
It's probably rusty. I told you I didn't use it very often.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's got it.
Good.
Okay, now, hang on, will you, while I boost myself up?
I got it.
Okay. All right. You want to come up, Frank?
Yeah.
All right, let me give you a hand.
Yeah. Wait till I get my foot on the ledge.
All right, come on. Oh, okay. You got to lose some weight. Let's take a look at that skyline, huh?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we didn't hit this tar roof at noon.
Well, it's still plenty warm.
Yeah. Hey, you can see all of Hemp's place through this one.
Mm-hmm. Good spot to case it from, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's check that broken skylight.
Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah, more smears.
Well, there's not much doubt about these.
Looks like blood, all right, doesn't it?
Yeah. Maybe they did case the stores from here.
Uh-huh. Could have cut his foot on a piece of glass, couldn't he?
That figures. Still not much to go on.
No.
It'd take a pretty big cut to make these smears.
Well, that'd be something in our favor.
How do you mean?
It won't heal overnight. The crime lab crew arrived and started their investigation. Photographs were taken of the interiors of both stores, and samples of the plaster and lath materials were held as evidence. Latent fingerprints went over both the jewelry store and the barber shop. Frank and I checked with the people in the neighborhood, but none of them could recall seeing any automobiles or strangers loitering in the vicinity. At 7:20 p.m., the barber, Ed Justin, returned. We questioned him. He said he didn't recall locking the back door to the shop, and he said it was more than possible that he did leave it open. We got a complete list of the stolen merchandise from Ray Hemp, along with the case and movement numbers of the watches. These were distributed to pawn shops throughout the city. Frank and I went back to the city hall and had the stats office start a run on the M.O. used in the burglary. 9:47 p.m., Lieutenant Lee Jones from the crime lab called to say that they'd finished their examination of the physical evidence. He told us that the stains we'd found were blood and that he'd have the grouping test finished for us in the morning. He went on to say that the suspect should have particles of plaster dust and other debris in his clothing. Also, if we were able to find the socks that the thief had worn, the pattern of the material would identify them. At 10:15 p.m., Frank and I finished the log and we checked out of the office. The next morning, we started to run down the list that the stats office had furnished us. It took 2 full days to question all of the men named. At the end of that time, we had what we'd started with, nothing. We talked to informants. None of them could tell us anything. Wednesday, 11:40 a.m., Frank and I checked into the office. Guess I better check the book, huh?
Yeah. What you got?
A call from Lucarelli over at Narcotics.
Yeah.
Says they picked up a guy this morning. Luke talked to him and figured maybe we'd want to see him.
You say why?
No, he didn't spell it out. He saw our teletype on the jewelry store thing.
Yeah.
It's about some watches. We put in a call to Sergeant Roxy Lucarelli at Narcotics Division. 5 minutes later, the suspect was brought to our office. He was identified as Frederick Gabriel Garth. He had a record listing several arrests for burglary and narcotics. He'd served 1 term at the county jail on the narcotics charge. He was brought into the interrogation room where Frank and I questioned him.
What are you giving me trouble for? I'm clean. They found nothing on me.
Is that so?
Sure, the marks are old. Been a long time since I had a fix.
Uh-huh.
Well, what do you want from me?
Information?
On what?
You've been around a while, haven't you, Garth?
Sure, I'm a native son.
And you must have a lot of friends.
A couple.
Any of them selling wristwatches?
What do you mean?
Well, you don't need a drawing for this now. Any of your friends selling watches cheap?
No.
You sure about that?
What are you trying to build?
The only way it came to us, you can steer us to a cheap watch.
Well, you got it all wrong. I don't even own a watch. If I could buy one cheap, I'd have one.
Is that right?
Well, sure. I always wanted a good one.
Mm-hmm.
You know anybody who can lead us to a good buy?
Well, what's in it for me?
What do you got now?
Nothing.
Well, you're going to leave the same way.
Well, no reason for me to give you a hand, then, is there?
Then put it down that we're going to have you in here again. The way you act now will go on the books.
How about it, Garth?
Who's going to know?
You, Smith, and me.
For real?
Won't do us any good to spread it around town, will it?
Okay, I met a guy last night. Showed me a watch he bought for $5.
What'd it look like?
Gold. Pretty good watch.
This fellow a friend of yours?
I know him, that's all.
You got a name?
Yeah, Victor Gordon.
Where'd you see him?
Hot dog stand.
Where's that?
Out on Western.
Western's a long street.
Corner of St. Andrews.
What's this Gordon do for a living?
I don't know. I just see him around the hot dog stand once in a while.
You live around there?
Yeah, I got a room near 39th and Western. I don't know the number. It's a big green place. Got those kind of plastic shingles on the roof. Red ones.
Mm-hmm. You show it to us?
Yeah, a friend of mine has a car. We drove him home a couple of times.
Did you get a good look at the watch last night?
Yeah.
What kind was it?
Longy.
You're pretty sure about that, are you?
Sure, I looked at it pretty good. He took it off his wrist, asked me if I thought it was worth $5.
Uh-huh.
Well, I told him it was. At least I'd pay that for it. It was a real beauty.
All right. Can you give us a description of this Gordon fella?
Yeah.
We want you to show us where he lives.
Well, I've ridden this far. No reason to get off now.
You got any more on him?
You're going to find out anyway.
Yeah?
This Gordon,
Uh-huh.
he's an ex-convict.
We checked the name and description of Victor Gordon through R&I. We found that he'd served one term for armed robbery in an eastern penitentiary and was not on parole at the time. A check of the ex-convict registration gave us his present address. We also found that he was employed at the Belden Aircraft Corporation in San Fernando. We took Fred Garth out to the address on Western Avenue to verify it for us. He pointed out the house and asked that we drop him off near a streetcar line. After that, Frank and I returned to the rooming house, and we went up to the third floor. We knocked on the door to Gordon's room, and he asked us in.
I know what you're climbing on me for. Why all the questions?
You ask him to get answers, don't you? We'd like a few.
Look, you tell me what all this is about, and maybe it'll shake up my memory.
All right, the way we heard it, you were wearing a new watch last night.
Well, you got it wrong.
Is that so?
Yeah, I haven't got a watch.
We got it different.
Look here. You see one? If I had a watch, I'd be wearing it, wouldn't I?
You had one last night, mister.
Well, you're crazy. I haven't got a watch.
We heard different.
Somebody lied to you. I showed you I'm not wearing one.
You don't mind if we look around the place?
Go ahead. You won't find anything.
All right.
I'll check the closet, Joe.
Okay.
You're wasting your time. You're not going to find anything.
Well, then you haven't got anything to worry about, have you?
Go ahead and mess up my room. Tear it apart. You're not going to find anything.
Why don't you just simmer down there?
I just don't want to have to put all that stuff back.
Joe,
Yeah. What do you got?
take a look. Found one of the shoes there.
38 Colt.
Yeah.
How about it? You satisfied now?
This gun yours, Gordon?
Never saw it before.
Found it in your closet.
It isn't mine.
Won't hold. You want to tell us about it?
All right, so you found a gun. Is something wrong?
You got a short memory, haven't you?
Maybe I got it wrong. I thought you guys were looking for a watch.
There's a law that says an ex-con can't have a gun. You ought to know that. How about it, Gordon? All right, get your coat.
Want to take me downtown?
You called it.
What charge?
We'll let you know when we write it up.
It's a bad beef.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, it is. I don't know what you're after, but I had no piece of it.
You want to get the watch?
It's in the medicine cabinet in the bathroom.
All right, you sit still. I'll get it.
I bought it. I paid $5.
We'll get to that. How about it, Joe?
Yeah. You got a pen there?
Yeah, give it here all over.
All right. You want to give me the number? I'll check it against the list.
Yeah. Wait a minute. It's kind of hard to see. 1, 6, 7, 5, 8. I think the next one's a 9.
Let me see then. Yeah, that's a 9.
Is it on the list?
Wait a minute.
Look, I didn't steal it. I was wrong about the gun, but I didn't steal the watch.
Look, just sit still. How about it?
No, it's not here. Wait a minute. Try the other side. Mm-hmm. Gordon, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I know. The gun.
No, that's only half of it, this watch.
Yeah?
It's listed as stolen.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The suspect was taken downtown and questioned. He continued to deny any part in the thefts. We put in a call to the place where he worked, and we verified that he'd been there on the night of the burglary. After a half hour of questioning, Victor Gordon told us about the man he'd bought the watch from. He said he didn't know his full name, that he knew him only as Kermit. He went on to say that his girlfriend had been with him when he bought the watch and could verify the story. We contacted the girl, Celia Kirk, and we talked to her. She told us the same story we'd gotten from Gordon. She volunteered the information that Kermit lived in the 3800 block on Gramercy Place. She also told us that his girlfriend lived in the 2900 block on 9th Avenue. We got a complete description of the man, and we checked it through R&I. We came up with a package for a Kermit J. Wayne. When the mugshot was shown to Gordon and Celia Kirk, we got a positive identification. Wayne's arrest record went back to the time he was 15. He was listed as an expert safe burglar and had used a tunneling M.O. on several occasions. Gordon was booked in at the main jail on a charge of violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Law of 1923, Section 2. 5:40 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove out to the address on Gramercy Place. Wayne lived on the second floor rear. He wasn't there. In the company of the landlord, we went through his room.
Pretty dirty.
If you want to check the dresser, I'll get the trunk.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, look. I guess everybody's got this calendar, huh?
Yeah, it's real popular.
Good. Hey, look at this.
Did you turn something?
Yeah? Drawer full of dirty T-shirts.
You gotta put them someplace.
Look, I have gloves for this job. How you doing with the trunk?
There's nothing much in it. More of those calendars. Wayne must be a fine arts patron.
Dirty shirts in this one.
I don't know. Maybe the guy hasn't heard of laundries. What do you think? Well, the trunk checks out.
Well, how you like that? I should have known.
Hmm?
Dirty socks, whole drawer full of them.
Well, he's neat anyhow.
Huh?
I'll check the closet. A lot of hangers, not many clothes.
Maybe the guy's broke, but that's no reason to be so dirty. How about that bundle there?
I haven't looked at it yet. Wait a minute.
It might be his clean shirts.
No, pair of pants.
Figures. They're dirty, too.
Wait a minute. Something in the pocket here. Pair of socks.
That makes you wrong.
What?
If he was so neat, they'd be with the others.
Well, maybe he had a reason for keeping them here.
Why?
Take a look.
He had a reason.
Blood on this one. We checked out the rest of Wayne's room, but we turned up nothing to further tie him in with a burglary. We got a description of his car from the landlord, and before we left, we made arrangements for a stakeout to be set up on his room. We took the pair of pants and the blood-stained socks down to the crime lab for examination. 8:20 p.m. Frank and I drove over to 9th Street to try to find Kermit Wayne's girlfriend. We checked the 2900 block, and we found a car that matched the description of the one owned by the suspect. We checked the white slip and found the car was registered to Wayne. Frank pulled two of the leads to the spark plugs, and we went back to our car to wait for Wayne to show up. The night dragged on. 4:29 a.m.
It's been almost 8 hours, huh?
Yeah. Something had happened, don't you?
Put in with you. Joe?
Hmm?
You ever notice around the city all the clocks that are stopped?
No, I can't say that I have.
You know, on business places, storefronts, walls, all over.
Well, what brought that on?
Oh, I was just thinking a little while ago. You know, some smart fella did a lot of work fixing them. All the clocks that don't run.
Mm-hmm.
They're only right 2 times a day.
What?
Clocks that are broke. Twice a day they're right. How'd you like to be right only twice a day?
Some fellas would be all right.
Like who?
Guys that bet on the horses.
Oh, yeah, probably would. Never thought of that. Wouldn't be so good if you worked in a chicken hatchery, though.
Where?
Chicken hatchery.
What do you mean?
Well, those guys up there, they look at baby chicks. They're a day or so old, and they tell what they're going to be. You know, men or women.
What?
Well, they're going to be roosters or hens.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good money in it.
Well, that's a new one on me.
Yeah, but you got to be right. None of this twice-a-day stuff. You know, say a guy bought 100 little baby chicks expecting to get, 98 hens and 2 roosters.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds out he got just the opposite, 98 roosters and 2 hens. How do you think he'd feel?
Disappointed?
You bet he would. That guy'd be looking for a new job, too.
Yeah, well, maybe he could fix those clocks, huh?
Well, sure be a lot of money in it for
Hold it.
somebody, huh?
Across the street.
Yeah, that's him.
Talking to somebody inside there.
I can't see him too good. Not the right height, though.
Yeah. It's coming this way now. Notice the walk? Checks out all the way.
Yeah. It's him.
All right, wait till he gets in the car. Well, let's go.
Right.
Hey, fella. You Kermit Wayne?
Hey, what is this?
Police officers. Are you Kermit Wayne?
Yeah, what?
Get out of the car. Come on. Keep those hands where we can see them.
Why you want to talk to me?
Come on, get out. Just put it down the way you walk, huh?
This don't make sense.
It does to us.
What do you mean?
You limp. The suspect was taken down to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. An examination showed that he had a bad cut on his right foot. We contacted the office, and another team of men were sent out to the apartment of Wayne's girlfriend to go over the place. Frank and I took the suspect back to the office. 8:25 a.m.
Don't guess we can expect much from Wayne's girlfriend if she's anything like him.
No, he's a clam, that's for sure. We're going to need something strong to open him up.
Friday?
Yeah, Mac. How'd you do out there?
Think maybe we got something for you.
Yeah.
Where's the guy?
The next office.
You taking a trip, Mac?
Suitcases for you. Watches, rings.
Huh.
Wayne's girlfriend didn't know it, but she was in the jewelry business.
Oh, look at this. All Longines. How about serial numbers?
Haven't checked him yet. As soon as we found this, we came right over.
All right. We'll run him. Do you have any trouble?
No, really. She was pretty cooperative. Didn't see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
We told her Wayne was in custody, gave her a big story. Tells easier than it was.
How'd you locate the stuff?
When we told her about Wayne, she remembered the suitcase he wanted her to keep for him.
Mm-hmm.
He told her it was some war souvenirs. Didn't like to leave them in his room.
Mm-hmm.
Real surprised when she saw the contents. Then she got mad. Said he'd always promised to buy her a good watch. Never had.
Well, she can start looking for a new Santa Claus, huh?
Yeah.
Wayne won't be shopping for some time. We checked the serial numbers on the watches, and we found that they were the ones taken in the burglary of the jewelry store. All of the other merchandise matched the description that we'd gotten from Ray Hemp. 9:18 a.m. All right, you want to tell us how you cut your foot?
I'm giving you nothing.
You did it on the skylight over the barber shop, didn't you?
You tell me. I don't know. Maybe I cut at the beach.
No, we don't think so.
I want to see a lawyer. I'll talk to him, but I got nothing for you guys.
All right, we got something here we want you to see, Wayne.
How about it, Wayne? Look familiar?
Who you kidding? Bunch of watches. I seen watches before. Who hasn't?
These are a little different. Look at the suitcase. Does that ring any bells?
Don't mean nothing to me. You guys are trying to trap me. I know how you are. Won't work this time. I learned all about you cops a long time ago.
I get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah, right. Both of them, huh? Oh, good. Okay. We'll check with you. Want to give us a story now, Wayne?
I'll talk to a lawyer.
That phone call there. They just called the third strike on you, mister.
More bluff.
All right, I'll give it to you straight. When you went into that jewelry store, you cut your foot. You left blood smears all over the place.
You got to stay away from comic
We
books.
got pictures of the smears. Our crime lab matched them up with a pair of socks that we found in your room. The pants we found are loaded with debris that you picked up when you went through that wall. And we can prove it came from the same place. Sound like we're bluffing?
You want to tell us about it now?
Don't think you're so smart, you ain't. You just got the breaks, that's all, just the breaks.
That's so.
Yeah, you cops ain't smart. I learned it real young. Once in a while, the breaks fall on your side.
Something else you should have learned real young. You wouldn't be worrying about the brakes now.
What's that?
The 8th commandment.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
Kermit J. Wayne was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree. Victor Cavell Gordon was found guilty of violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Act and received sentence as prescribed by law. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. Violation of the Dangerous Weapons Control Act is punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for a period of not more than 1 year, or a fine of $500, or both such fine and imprisonment.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A young man walks into your office and tells you he wants to give himself up. You don't know if you can believe his story. Your job? Check it out.
It was Monday, December 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from records and identification. It was 11:15 a.m. when we got to room 42, the squad room.
Joe?
Yeah, Danny.
Kid waiting to see you.
Did he say what he wanted?
No, said he wanted to talk to you, nobody else.
Did he give a name?
No, nice-looking kid.
All right, we'll talk to him.
Be right with it, Joe. I'll check the book.
All right. All right, do you want to see me?
You Sergeant Friday?
That's right. What can I do for you?
I want to talk to you.
Nothing in the book, Joe.
What's your name, son?
Emil Salter.
Emil, this is my partner, Frank Smith.
Hello, Mr. Smith.
Hi, son.
Why'd you ask for me?
Well, they told me to.
Who's that?
The men in that room across the hall, the business office.
I see.
I sure hope you can help me, Sergeant Friday. I'm in trouble. Real bad.
All right. So I'll sit down here and you can tell us about it. Go ahead.
Well, one thing, you should know I came in to give myself up.
Is that right?
I didn't mean to do wrong.
All right, what'd you do?
Killed a man.
Emil Charles Salter was 18 years old, 5 feet 7 and a half, 137 pounds. He had light blonde hair and blue eyes. He was wearing a tan windbreaker and tan pants. He looked tired, and he told us that he hadn't eaten in several hours. We sent out for some hot coffee and sandwiches. Frank checked his name and description through R&I, but he found that he had no record in our files. We asked him to tell us the story.
Do you know the man you killed?
No, I never saw him before.
Well, how'd you kill him?
Ran him down.
In a car?
No, a truck.
Well, where'd this happen?
Coast Highway near Malibu. Just this side.
When?
Last night. I guess it must have been around 10. It should have been around then because I left town at 8:30. It took about an hour and a half to drive up there.
Now, you sure the man was dead?
Yeah, I looked at him. It wasn't hard to tell.
Did you try to help him at all?
No. As soon as I looked at him, I knew there wasn't anything I could do. I just got back in the truck and took off.
Where's the truck now?
I left it. Just the other side of Malibu. It broke down, so I left it.
Mm-hmm.
When it stopped, I sat there for a while. Tried to think why I was hung up in something like this. Tried to figure why. Didn't come, so I got out and started to walk.
Uh-huh.
All the time I was thinking about the man. I could almost see him. Guess it got to me, so I came back, caught a ride, and came back.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Joe, here's the food.
Oh, thanks, Danny. What do we owe you?
Come to $1.60.
Wait a minute. You got 15 cents, Frank?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, here, Danny.
Thanks. A couple cartons in there, black.
Right, thank you. All right, here, Emil. Help yourself.
Thank you. Sure hungry. I haven't had anything to eat since last night.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us about the truck?
Yeah.
Where'd you get it?
I stole it. That's wrong, too, I know. Everything I do seems to be wrong.
Where'd you take it from, son?
Parking lot near where I used to live.
Where's that?
A rooming house on 9th Street near Figueroa.
Can you show us where the truck is now?
I guess so. I don't think anybody could move it. It broke down, like I said.
Where you from, Emil?
Waukesha, Wisconsin. It's a small city near Milwaukee. Maybe you've heard of it.
No, I can't say I have.
Got good water. Springs and wells. Real fine. Manufacture things, too. Motors, jacks, lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure is a nice little place.
How come you left there?
Lots of reasons.
In trouble?
Yeah. In a way, nothing serious. It was lots of things. You know, at home. I don't know just how to say it.
You ever been arrested?
No. Well, not booked or anything. Cops took me in a couple of times.
What for?
Little things. Like one night we broke in a church. Didn't go in to steal anything. One of the guys just wanted to play the organ.
Mm-hmm. Your parents alive?
Yeah.
When'd you leave home?
Last July. I thought about it for a long time. Figured I might have a better chance where nobody knew me. Looks like it didn't make any difference.
When'd you get here?
Last part of July. Sure was different than Waukesha.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's so big. Then I didn't know anyone. Pretty lonesome at first. And then I got lucky.
Yeah?
I got this job. Nothing important, just washing dishes at this cafe. I get $25 a week in food.
Yeah.
Got a little money ahead, bought some clothes. Not real fancy, but they were new and they give me a lift. You know.
Sure.
Had a nice room, too. Clean, handy to work. Thought I had it made. Then the axe fell.
What do you mean?
I got sick. Couldn't get out of bed one morning. The landlord called a doctor. He said I had rheumatic fever.
Yeah?
The doctor called for an ambulance, and they took me to General Hospital.
Uh-huh.
Things are bad enough when you feel good. I was in the hospital, and I didn't feel like nothing.
You remember the doctor's name?
No, sir, I don't.
How long were you in the hospital?
3 days.
They discharged you in 3 days, did they?
No, sir, I ran away.
Why?
Well, the Travelers Aid Society said that they were going to send me back home. I didn't want that, so I ducked out.
Mm-hmm.
I went back to my room. I got a couple of bucks I had hid and left.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have any idea what I was going to do, but I didn't want to be sent back to Wisconsin.
That's when you stole the truck, huh?
Yeah, looked like a way out of town.
Uh-huh.
The whole thing doesn't seem like it really happened. You know how when you're half asleep and the radio's on, the things come through, but they're not real clear.
Yeah.
Like that. I remember riding in the truck after I hit the man, trying to think what I was going to do, how I was alone.
Mm-hmm.
Story of my life. Seems like I was always alone. Sure was last night. I don't know. I guess I never do anything right, do I? Guess I just don't have the nerve.
You did this time.
Hmm?
You came here, didn't you? We put in a call to accident records and verified Emil Salter's story. The body of a man identified as Lloyd Holtman, transient, had been found by officers of the Highway Patrol. Holtman had apparently been struck by a vehicle traveling at high speed as he walked along the road. We checked with Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and we found that his division had made an investigation. Frank and I left the office and went over to see him. He showed us pictures taken at the scene. On the victim's coat, the lab crew had been able to find traces of blue paint. Jones was not able to tell us what type of vehicle had hit the victim, but he did say that from the high rate of speed at the time of impact, there would be extensive damage to the front end of the vehicle. Emil Salter was booked on charges of violation of Section 480 V.C., a felony. Frank and I checked him out of the main jail and drove out to where he'd left the truck. He told us to drive up Highway 101. When we got past the Malibu colony, he directed us to turn off onto a dirt road. We drove about 200 yards, and then he asked us to stop.
You sure this is where you left the truck?
Yeah, just over there, behind those trees. When the engine started acting up, I looked for a place to park. Figured it'd be better if I got off the road. There it is. You can see it now.
Uh-huh. This is the same one you stole last night, is it?
Yes, sir. It's the one I was driving.
I'll check the front end.
Yeah. Did you have anything to drink last night?
No, I had enough of that at home.
Mm-hmm. You're sure this is the truck you had when you hit that fellow? Huh?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know what all the questions are about. I said I did it. I'm not trying to hide anything.
There's nothing up there, Joe. Front end's clean.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No.
I don't understand what the problem is.
Well, what you tell us doesn't add up with the evidence here.
What do you mean?
Well, the report we got says that the man was killed by a blue vehicle.
Uh-huh.
Now, take a look at that truck, will you?
Yeah?
Black. We put in a call to the office, and we asked them to send the tow truck out and impound the vehicle. We stood by until they arrived. Frank and I drove Emil Salter to the scene of the accident. He pointed it out for us. According to the information we'd gotten, the location he gave us was the place where Lloyd Holtman had been found. We checked the area, but we failed to come up with anything new. 5:20 p.m., we returned the suspect to the main jail, and we went back to the office. We sent a radiogram to the authorities in Waukesha asking for all available information on Salter. At 6:47 p.m., we checked out of the office. The next morning, December 11th, Frank and I met in the squad room.
Hi, Joe.
Morning.
See the morning papers?
Yeah, guess there isn't much news, huh?
I sure gave Salter a lot of space.
Yeah, wish we could find the answers.
I called Lee when I got in. They went over the truck, found a lot of the kids' prints, but they didn't turn anything that'd point to an accident.
The way the body looked, there should be something on the car that ran him down, shouldn't
Excuse me?
there? Yes, sir.
I wonder if y'all could help me out?
Well, we'll try, sir. Come on in. What is it you want?
Well, that there kid in the paper?
Sir?
You know, a young kid that ran down the old bum, Emo something?
Salter.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, what do you know about it?
Well, just take it easy now. A couple of things I gotta be sure of before I tell you anything.
All right, what's that?
Well, I ain't gonna get mixed up in nothing.
We can't promise you that till we heard what you got to tell.
I'm wasting my time. Bye.
All right, just a minute.
Huh?
Maybe I better straighten you out, mister.
On what?
Well, this kid's sitting in jail right now. He's got a pretty serious charge against him.
I didn't make it.
Yes, sir, that might be true, but I better tell you this. If you know anything about a felony that's been committed, and you withhold that information, you're liable for prosecution as an accessory. Do you know that?
That's the law?
Those are the words. Now, the only thing we're interested in is getting the case off the books. We're not going to give your name to the papers.
That's a promise?
That's a promise.
Okay. I told you it'd be pretty bad for me if any of what I tell you gets back to my family.
All right. Now, what's your name?
Lawrence States.
That's Loren?
Yeah.
You want to sit down?
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Now, what do you know about this?
That emo kid, he ain't guilty.
How's that?
He didn't do it.
How do you know?
Oh, I seen the accident. Seen the whole thing.
You want to start at the beginning?
Now, you're sure none of this is going to get out?
We told you, not from us.
Okay. Well, I took a drive Saturday night up the coast. I had dinner.
Uh-huh.
Now, on the way back, I stopped and parked a while. You know, kind of looked out at the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, I was just leaving, and I saw this old guy walk along the road, bent stiff, you know. Had a blanket roll on his back, just walking along. You know how to do.
Yes, sir.
All of a sudden, this car come roaring down the road. Thing must have been doing at least 90. Come roaring around a turn right at this old guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sir, the old guy saw the car coming right at him, kind of turned and started to run. Wasn't any place for him to go. It's where the road's cut right out of the mountain, you know.
Yeah, we were there, we know.
Well, I guess he figured the driver swing around him or something, so he run over the side of the pavement, trying to get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do no good. That car plowed right into him. Must have knocked him 150 feet.
122.
Well, it seemed a lot further than that.
Mm-hmm.
Did the driver make any attempt to stop after he hit the old man?
Yeah, pulled over the side of the road. Didn't get out of the car, though.
Uh-huh.
Just stayed there a minute, then he drove off.
Yes, sir.
Well, sir, I was going to go over and see what I could do for the old fella. I really was. And then this truck drove up. Guy stopped and got out. Walked over to the fella. I figured he'd be able to take care of it, so I left.
Did you see the driver of the truck?
Yes, sir. Saw him good when he walked in front of the headlights. The same fella in the paper, that emo, what's his name?
Solder.
Yeah, Salder.
You're pretty sure it's the same man?
Yes, sir. Now, like I told you, I got a good look at him.
Mm-hmm. How about the other man? What can you tell us about him?
Not much, except he was driving too fast.
Well, how about the car? You know what kind it was?
I didn't get a good look at that.
How about the color? You notice that?
Yeah, it was a blue, kind of light color.
Can you give us any description of the driver?
No, sir.
Could you tell us if it was a man or a woman?
Oh, it was a man. I noticed that when he slowed down. He kind of leaned out the window and looked back down the road. It was a man, all right.
Mm-hmm. Could you see the color of his hair? Anything at all about him?
No, sir. There wasn't any lights up there. You know, it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't see very good. The main reason I know the driver was a man was the lights from the truck kind of picked him up, and that's when he left.
Well, all right, Mr. States. We appreciate what you've told us.
Glad to help as long as nobody's going to know. Be pretty embarrassing.
Well, how's that?
Well, so you see, me and the wife, we ain't been getting along too good. Nothing worth talking about. But a fella don't like to be nagged at, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's this little secretary in our office, and she and I talk once in a while. A couple of times we gone out for morning coffee together.
Mm-hmm.
This last beef with my wife, I figured I'd fix it good. So I asked the secretary for a date. She gave it to me. We got together Saturday night. Had dinner at a place up near Malibu.
Mm-hmm.
On the way back, we just parked and talked. Nothing wrong, mind you. But I don't guess my wife'd understand if she found out.
I see.
So you see why I don't want nobody to know about Saturday? It'd be kind of tough to explain.
Yes, sir.
Got to thinking about it, though, and what that kid, Emo...
Solder.
Yeah. Got to thinking what he must be going through and decided maybe I better tell about it.
Well, sir, it's going to help him a lot.
Yep, I guess so. Oh, something else you might be able to use.
What's that?
Might not be worth anything out of state and all.
What's that?
The hit-and-run car?
Yeah.
I got the license number.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
We got the license number of the hit-and-run car. Also the fact that it carried an Illinois plate. We put out a local and an APB on it. We got in touch with the Department of Motor Vehicles back east, and we obtained the owner's name. According to their records, he had notified them that he was moving to California. They were able to supply us with a North Hollywood address for him. We checked the name through our records section, but we found nothing. At 5:20 p.m., Frank and I drove out to see him.
Yes?
Charles Bookman,
That's right.
police officers. We'd like to talk to you.
Come on in.
Thank you. My partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Hello.
How do, sir?
I was just having dinner. You mind if I tell my wife to go ahead?
Well, we can wait if you like.
No, I'll be right back.
All right. You want to wait just a minute? Mind if we go with you?
I'm just going into the dining room.
Yes, sir, but we'll still have to be with you.
What's this about?
You own a 1954 Pontiac,
Yeah,
light blue.
that's right. Something happened to the car?
We want you to tell us, if you will.
Well, I don't know what this is all about. Seems you ought to be able to tell me.
Where is the car?
Well, I don't know.
You own a car and you don't know where it is?
That's right.
Has it been stolen?
Well, I don't know. For all I know, it could have been. I haven't seen it for a couple of days.
Well, who has it, do you know?
My brother-in-law. I let him drive it.
You don't know where he is.
No, if he smashed up the car, he's going to pay for it, though. I'm not going to be responsible.
I'm afraid he's done more than that.
I don't know, and he's a real bum. My wife's kid brother can't hold a job for more than 5 minutes. All the time sponging off me.
When'd you let him take the car?
Let's see. It was Saturday morning. I told him I wouldn't be using it for a couple of days, said he could have it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's my car you're asking about. I got a right to know. If something's wrong, I ought to notify the insurance company.
Yes, sir, we understand. But it'd be better if we talked to your brother-in-law about it first. You want to give us his full name?
Casey Stedman.
Steadman, is that right?
That's right.
How about a description?
No problem. I think I got a picture around if you want that.
Yes, sir, it'd help.
I'll get it for you.
What were you doing over the weekend?
I was home. I'm branch manager for the company I work for. I got an annual report I have to get out. I worked on that.
Every night?
Yeah. Started it Friday night, finished it up Monday afternoon. That's one reason I let Casey take the car.
What?
To get him out of the house so I could get some work done.
Oh, I see.
But all he does is sit around and look at the TV. Starts right with the programs for kids and goes straight through the day. I think there's something wrong with his ears, too. Always got the set turned up real loud. And anybody can think when he's watching a show.
Yes, sir.
I had to get him out of the house. Wife won't even let me say anything to him. She knows how important that work is, too. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it.
No, I wouldn't know about that, sir.
Just once. Just once, I'd like to be able to prove to my wife what a bum he is. Just once, so she really believes it.
Well, if he was driving your car Saturday night, we'll let you know.
What'll that prove?
She'll believe it then. We got a complete description of Casey Stedman along with a picture of the suspect. We went back to the office and got out a supplemental broadcast and an APB on him. A check at R&I failed to turn up any information. We talked with his friends and his known associates. None of them could tell us where he was. None of them had seen him since the accident. Wednesday, December 12th, we got a call from one of the larger garages in the city. Yes, sir, that's right. Mm-hmm. When did he call you? I see. All right, we'll be right over. No, if he does, will you try to stall him till we get there? Right. Thank you. Bye. Garage over on 6th.
Yeah.
Guy hauled a car in this morning, front end all smashed up. Started to work on it, and he thought he'd better call us.
Blue Pontiac?
That's right, stains on the fender.
Yeah.
Mechanic thinks they're blood. Frank and I left the office, and we drove over to the garage. We talked to the owner. He told us that he'd gotten a call to bring a tow truck to the corner of Main and Crocker Streets. When he got there, he met a man who asked him to tow a car to the garage and to do some repair work on the right front fender. We showed him Stedman's picture. He gave us a positive identification. We checked the car over. It was a 1954 blue Pontiac sedan. The license number was the same one that we'd gotten previously. The garage owner went on to tell us that the suspect wanted the car on Thursday night and that it was important that the repairs be made by that time. We asked that we be notified in the event the suspect made an appearance before then. We called the crime lab and we asked them to come down and go over the car. Frank and I went back to the office and we met with Captain Lorman. We told him what we'd found. He told us to be at the garage the first thing Thursday morning in the event Stedman made an early appearance. Frank and I got there at 7:30 a.m. At 4:30 in the afternoon, the suspect still hadn't shown. 4:45, 4:50 p.m.
Maybe he figures something's wrong.
Doesn't seem likely. There's no way for him to find out.
Think his sister tipped him?
No. Bookman said he wouldn't say anything to her about it.
Uh-huh.
Met him, Frank.
Yeah. We got a live one.
Well, let's take him. Stedman?
Yeah?
I'd like to talk to you.
Why? Do I know you?
Police officers. You on that blue Pontiac over there?
Grab him, Joe. All right,
Mister, take it easy.
Go! I know nothing about it, nothing. I never saw the car before.
The fellow that towed it in says you're the one who called him.
And he made a mistake. Must be a lot of men who look like me. Nothing special about me.
Our crime lab's gone over the car. As soon as we roll your fingerprints, we'll be able to tell for sure.
What's that going to prove? Maybe I did drive the car. Nothing wrong with that. No law that says a man can't drive a car.
We got one that says you can't use it to kill somebody.
I didn't do that.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, you don't believe me, do you?
Nope.
That's kind of lousy, isn't it?
How do you mean that?
You walk in here, you already made up your mind I'm guilty. You call that fair?
We just got to go with the evidence, mister.
Well, you got nothing to prove I was in that car. Nothing to show that I killed anybody. Just trying to make me say I did something I don't know nothing about.
All right, come on, let's go.
You just wait. You take me to court, I'll tell the whole world about this lousy deal.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the world.
Yeah?
But we'll be there to listen. We took the suspect back down to the city hall. As soon as we had his fingerprints taken and compared with the ones found in the car, we showed him the physical evidence that we had. When it was presented, he confessed to killing Lloyd Holtman. He made a statement, and we took him over to the main jail where he was booked in on a charge of violation of Section 480 V.C., a felony. Before we left the jail, we had Emil Salter brought from his cell to one of the interview rooms. He looked like he hadn't slept for several days. Sit down, Emil.
Thanks.
How do you feel?
Not too good, Mr. Friday.
Well, we got some news for you.
Yeah?
You didn't kill that man.
You're not lying to me.
No, we've got the guy that did it.
Oh, that's good. Since that night, all I've thought about was that man lying there. I'm glad it wasn't me.
Yeah?
You know, you still have to answer for auto theft.
Sure, I know. Funny. The reason I left home was to build something new. Here I am in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Just me, I guess. I blame my parents, my brothers, everybody. All the time it's me. There's nobody else to blame, really.
Well, you can try it again, Emil.
Yeah. But it'll probably be the same. Always on the outside looking in.
What do you mean by that?
Well, like back in high school. Maybe you'll think it's funny, but like one time I wanted to go to the junior prom. Real bad. Didn't have the right clothes. Didn't have a date. Who'd want to go out with a shrimp like me?
Well, did you ask anybody to go with you?
No, I knew better. But I went to the prom anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All by myself. No date, no nice clothes. Just old cords and a beat-up jacket. Want to know how I went?
Uh-huh.
I sat on the fire escape. Yeah, I watched the whole thing through the gym window, sitting on a fire escape. They had lanterns and stuff. Kids all dressed up real pretty. It was nice to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Saw the Grand March, everything. Only one trouble.
Yeah?
Like I said, I was all alone, looking in from the outside.
Well, we got to shove off, Emil.
Well, thanks for coming over.
It's all right.
See you, son.
Sure.
You want to wait here? We'll send an officer in for you.
Yes, sir. Thanks again.
Kind of nice kid, don't you think?
Yeah, guess he is.
Guess a lot of things caught up with him. Kind of gives you a funny feeling talking to him.
How do you mean that?
Well, you know how when he worked all night and you get home early in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
You're too tired to sleep and you hear a train whistle from the other side of town. Listening to that kid, I got the same sort of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a bad kid, not really. You think I'm wrong, Joe?
Well, I guess if you are, it makes two of us.
Yeah?
That whistle you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
I hear it every once in a while myself.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 16th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Casey Harrison Stedman was tried and convicted of violation of Section 480 of the Vehicle Code law. Violation of Section 480 V.C. is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of from 1 to 5 years. Emil Donald Salter pled guilty to one count of grand theft auto. In the interests of justice, he was placed on probation for a period of 3 years.
Your Police Force in Action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. On the way back to the office, you receive a call. It's about an attempted suicide. You're in the immediate vicinity. Your job? Check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, March 24th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. We were answering an ambulance follow-up, attempted suicide. It was 11:52 p.m. when we got to 2296 Whitworth Drive. Front door.
The place is sure lit up.
Yeah. Better try it again, huh?
Yeah.
You the police?
Yes, ma'am. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Come on in.
Thank you.
He's in there at the study.
Who is he?
Carl Hamlin.
Are you Mrs. Hamlin?
Yes.
Door's locked. Oh. Hamlin. Hamlin. Come on, open the door.
He has a gun. Said he was going to kill himself.
Yes, ma'am. Is there another key to this door?
No.
Want to give me a hand, Frank? We'll try to force it.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Let's try it this way. Come on.
Guess it isn't going to give.
No. There's another way into the room, ma'am.
No, this is the only door.
How about windows?
What?
Windows leading into it.
Yes, off the front porch. Came in here drunk, caused a scene.
Down this way?
Yes.
Just the window here?
Yes, it is.
Can you see anything?
No, let me have your flashlight.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah. I can see him there on the floor.
Can't you do something? He might still be alive.
Well, the screen's locked.
You got something to cut it with?
Just a minute. Try these keys. Yeah. That's got it.
Good. Okay. See if we can get the window open.
Yeah. I can't. I'm going to have to break this, man.
Well, I don't care as long as you get to him.
All right. I'm going to hold the light for me.
Yeah.
You better stand back, man. The glass
Hurry,
here.
please.
All
Just
right.
hurry.
Can you reach the latch from there?
Wait a minute. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I got it.
I'll give you a hand in.
All right.
Can you see if he's still alive?
Just a minute. We'll have to get into the room first, ma'am.
Watch your step there, Joe.
Yeah. All right, come on. I'll give you a hand.
All right.
Thanks. As soon as the ambulance gets here, will you show the attendant how to get in?
Yes, can you tell if he's alive yet?
No, ma'am, not yet. You want to get the door? I'll check the victim.
Yeah. How about it?
No, we better have the attendant look at him.
Uh-huh. Take a look at that. No wonder we couldn't force the door.
Yeah, the chair under the knob.
Locked and bolted. He must have wanted real privacy.
Looks like he's got it now.
That's the room right there.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi. All right.
He's dead. Carl's dead.
You want to wait in there, ma'am?
I didn't think he'd really do it.
How about it?
Just a minute, huh? No, nothing. He's dead. That his wife?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to have to do this, ma'am, but there are a couple of things I've got to know.
Go ahead.
Want to give me his full name?
Carl Hamlin,
His age?
43.
Does he live here?
No. We had a house over on Bronson, 947. You have to go through all this.
No, that's all, Mrs. Hamlin. I get the rest of it later.
Frank,
Yeah.
you want to finish up here?
Sure.
It's all so wrong. Carl's dead. It's all wrong.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anything we can get for you?
No.
Do you want to go in the other room and sit down? That's better. Would you like to call your doctor for you?
I've already called him from my mother. He's on the way over.
Where is she now?
In the back bedroom, she's laying down. This whole thing's been a shock for her.
Yes, ma'am. I can understand.
When I talked to her, he said for me to give her one of the pills he prescribed. It's supposed to make her sleep.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to talk to her.
Yes, we probably will.
I hope you won't have to do it tonight. This whole thing's been a terrible shock to her. She's not too well anyway.
Well, we'll try to avoid upsetting her any further.
I'd appreciate it more than I could tell you.
All right, Miss Hamlin. A few questions we've got to ask if you feel up to answering them.
Might as well get it over with. What do you want to know?
Do you want to tell us what happened?
Well, Carl came over tonight, drunk. He caused a big scene.
Your husband doesn't live here, then?
No, we're separated.
I see. Who was here when the shooting took place?
A mother and myself.
Anybody else living here?
No, just the two of us.
All right. What time did Mr. Hamlin get here?
I'm not sure. I was asleep.
I beg your pardon?
I was asleep. I don't know.
I see. You weren't expecting him then?
No. Last time I saw him, I told him to leave me alone. Said I'd get a court order if I had to.
Yeah.
We've been separated about a week this time.
This isn't the first time, then?
No, there've been other times. This was the worst. I told him I was finished, that I didn't want anything more to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been calling. Here, where I work, most of the time he was drunk. Kept asking for a reconciliation, saying how sorry he was and asking me to take him back.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming it all on him. I know some of it was my fault.
All right, you want to go on?
He called me this afternoon, and he had to see me. Had it all worked out so we could get back together again.
Uh-huh.
I told him I didn't want to see him. I said for him to stay away.
Yeah.
I came home and told my mother about it. Said Carl might show up, but if he did, I didn't want to see him.
All right, go on.
Kind of half expected him to show up, but he didn't. I went to bed after the 10:30 news. Mother stayed up to read.
Mm-hmm.
First I knew if there was anything wrong when I heard the shot. I got up and came right downstairs. Mother was standing in front of the study door. She told me that Carl was inside, that he'd shot himself.
Uh-huh.
I tried to call him. First I thought he was playing some kind of a joke.
Yeah.
My mother said she'd heard Carl fall down in the room. I called you right away.
Joe.
Yeah. What do you got?
DOA slip. I'll put in a call to the photo lab in the corner.
Okay.
I checked the guns, 38 revolver, one shot fired.
Well, that fits with the story I just got from his wife.
Mm-hmm. I'll make the calls. Wonder if I could use your phone, Mrs. Hamlin.
What?
I'd like to use your phone, please.
Oh, it's in the hall, the table there.
Thank you.
Did your mother tell you what happened?
Yes, in a way.
Well, how do you mean that?
She's over 70, Sergeant Friday. Thing like this isn't easy to go through at that age.
I see.
Well, my mother and Carl didn't get along. He always said that she caused the trouble between us. Told me a couple of times that if she'd keep her nose out of our business, we might be able to get along.
Uh-huh. Wonder if it'd be possible for us to talk to her.
You have to.
Yes, ma'am, we do.
I'll go see.
All right, thank you.
Crew's on the way, Joe.
Going to be more policemen out here?
Yes, ma'am. We'll try to make it as brief as possible.
I'd appreciate it.
We'll do everything we can.
I'll go get my mother.
Thank you.
She gave you the story?
As much as she knew.
What do you mean?
Well, she says she wasn't in the room at the time. Her mother saw it happen.
Oh.
Did you turn anything in the other room?
Mm-mm.
As soon as we get a statement from her mother and the coroner gets here, we can shove off.
Yeah.
You can sit over here, Mother.
Yes, dear.
These men want to ask you some questions. This is my mother, Mrs. Gaylord. Sergeant Friday. This is Officer Smith.
How do you do, ma'am?
All right, ma'am.
How do you do?
We'll try to make this as brief as possible, Mrs. Gaylor. Just a couple of questions we've got to ask.
You go right ahead.
If you get tired, Mother, you tell them and they'll stop.
Yes, dear.
Now, what time did your son-in-law get here tonight?
I'm not sure. I think it was about 11:30.
Uh-huh.
Nora told me Mr. Hamlin might be coming over. But that time of night, you'd hardly expect anybody to come calling, would you?
No, ma'am.
He did. He always was doing something no one else did. I think he just sat around and tried to figure things to do that was different.
Mm-hmm.
Like tonight. Came in drunk, yelled about how he wanted to have a showdown. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Started to yell at me. Told me how the split up was my fault. Started to curse at me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 73, Mr. Friday. I've seen a lot of things. Met a lot of people. Isn't anybody who can talk to me like that. I told Mr. Hamlin. Told him to get out of the house. That's when he pulled this gun out of his pocket.
Yes, ma'am.
Had it right in his coat, outside pocket.
I see.
I told him. I said, Mr. Hamlin, you just stop this foolishness and get out of here. That's what I said to him.
Yes, ma'am.
He just looked at me and said, yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Those are the exact words. Then he told me how he's going to kill himself to show me.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was some kind of dramatics. Mr. Hamlin was that kind, you know, always play acting around.
Yes, ma'am.
Not this time. Next thing I know, he ran into the study and locked the door. After that, there was a shot, and I heard him fall down. Right then's when Nora came into the room.
All right, Miss Gaylor. I think we have all the information we need now.
Okay, if I go to bed then?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Good night, then. You want to help me, dear?
Yes, Mother. I'll be right with you.
I'll be waiting up for you. Mr. Friday,
Yes, ma'am.
anything more you want to know about Mr. Hamlin, I'll tell you.
No, I don't think there'll be anything else, ma'am.
If there is, I'll tell you.
All right. Thank you, Miss Gaylor.
I'll be in my room, Nora.
All right, Mother. I'll be right there. She's taking this a lot better than I thought she would.
Mm-hmm. Miss Hamlin,
Yes.
did your husband ever talk about suicide before?
Yes, several times. Just this last week, I thought he was being dramatic again. I didn't pay much attention to him. It's so hard to tell if he was drunk or if he really meant something.
Mm-hmm.
All the years we were married, I don't think he was ever really serious.
You got it wrong, haven't you?
Hmm?
He was this time. 1:14 a.m. The photographer got to the house and took pictures of the room. The coroner removed the body to the county morgue, and at 2:37 a.m., Frank and I left the house. We went back to the office and filled out the 3.11.1 form, listing the death of Carl Martin Hamlin as a suicide. Frank called the coroner's office to find when we could get the results of the autopsy. They told us we'd have the necessary information late that afternoon. 3:18 a.m., we signed out of the office and went home. At 10:15 that morning, we got a call from Ray Pinker. He asked us to come right over to the crime lab.
We were running a routine check this morning. Came up with a couple of things I think you'd like to know.
All right, what do you got, Ray?
Here, take a look. Now, this is a bullet we fired from the gun found in the victim's hand.
Yeah.
Now, there. You can see it weighs 130 grains.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is the bullet that killed the man. Take a look.
That's all out of shape.
Mm-hmm. See anything else?
No, looks all right to me.
Yeah, what are you building, Ray?
Well, I checked this one pretty carefully. Made sure that all of it was here. You know, that none of the lead had been sheared off by bone tissue.
Yeah.
None missing. It's complete.
Yeah.
Now, take a look. Here, let me put this one on the scale. Now, check it yourself.
95 grains.
Yeah? 35 grains difference. Well, let me show you something else here. I figured the length of both bullets. They don't check out either.
What's it mean, Ray?
The bullet that killed Hamlin's a .380. It's a European calibration.
Mm-hmm.
The gun he had in his hands a .38 revolver.
Yeah.
.380's automatic ammunition.
Yeah.
This fellow Hamlin pulled a pretty neat trick.
Well, what do you mean, Ray?
He killed himself with a bullet that couldn't possibly be fired from the gun he was holding.
Huh. Something sure out of place.
Yeah. Might as well tear up the forms you filled out on this one. No suicide.
Yeah.
You gotta find a murder gun.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
11:12 a.m. Frank and I, along with Ray Pinker, left the crime lab and we drove out to see Nora Hamlin. From the physical evidence on hand, the way the door had been locked, and the fact that the windows had been bolted from the inside, it appeared unlikely that anybody could have left the room after Carl Hamlin had been shot. Yet from the information we'd gotten from Pinker, there had to be another gun involved in the killing. 11:24 a.m. We got to the house on Whitmore Drive.
Good morning. I didn't expect to see you back so soon. You want to come in?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Hamlin, this is Mr. Pinker from our crime lab. Ray, Miss Hamlin.
It's nice to know you, Mr. Pinker.
How do you do?
Are there some more questions you have to ask?
Yes, ma'am, that's right. Wonder if we could take another look at the study.
Oh, sure. Didn't the men who were here last night get what they needed?
Well, we'd just like to check it again with Mr. Pinker here.
Uh-huh. Well, you know where it is.
How's your mother feeling this morning?
She had a good sleep. The doctor gave her a sedative. She's still in bed.
We'll try not to disturb her.
Well, you go ahead with what you have to do. I'm trying to get the house in order. If there's anything you want, I'll be across the hall.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right over here, Ray.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we found him. You can see there where we had to break the window to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Frank?
Yeah.
You got that sketch you made last night?
Yeah. Yeah, here it is. You want to take a look, Ray?
Yeah.
There you can see the body was about here.
Mm-hmm.
Over here. And the feet were about here. That's about right, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah. It was right next to the chair there.
Mm-hmm. That's the way I got it there. Just About on the perfect line between the floor lamp and the chair over there.
Mm-hmm. What about the gun?
In his right hand.
Was the gun in his hand when you found him?
Yeah, that's right. Pictures from the photo lab will bear that out.
Sure is out in left field.
How do you mean?
I talked to Doc Newbar when he sent the bullet over.
Mm-hmm.
The way he described the wound, it's pretty tough to buy that a right-handed man could shoot himself so the slug would end up where it did.
Exactly how do you mean?
Well, the bullet entered just to the right of the center of his chest. About here.
Uh-huh.
Came to rest under the right arm, here. Line of travel's way off.
Sure would have been an easier way to do it, huh?
Yeah. What about the door when you found it?
I'll show you how it was locked. Give me that chair, Frank.
Yeah. Here you go.
No. The key was turned. Bolt was thrown.
Mm-hmm.
And then this chair was propped up under the knob like this.
Mm-hmm. How about the key? Was it still in the lock?
Yeah.
Sure looks like he meant the door to stay shut.
Yeah, we could figure that.
Place looks pretty solid. Plaster walls. Not much chance of anybody getting through them.
Mm-hmm.
You checked the bookcases?
What do you mean?
Any of them pull away from the wall?
Well, I looked at them last night. They all seem solid enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got any ideas, Ray?
I don't know. The way that door looks, the rest of the room, doesn't seem likely anybody could have shot him, then gone outside and locked the door.
Think they could have come in through the window?
You had to break it.
Yeah.
The way it's set up, you shouldn't have any trouble finding the suspect.
What do you mean?
Find a butler built like an envelope.
Mighty funny.
You didn't see a shell casing around last night, did you?
Well, there wasn't any reason to look for it.
Mm-hmm. There's no sign of one now. Looks like the room's been cleaned.
Yeah. Well, I guess we better check with the Hamlin woman, huh?
And get this stuff away from the door.
Miss Hamlin. Miss Hamlin?
Oh, yes, just a minute. Something you want?
Yes, ma'am. Has anybody been in the study since we left last night?
I didn't know I wasn't supposed to. You didn't say anything about it.
Well, did you clean the room?
Yes, I told you. I was straightening up the house. I ran the vacuum in here.
Did you see an empty shell casing?
I don't know what you mean.
Well, it looks like this, ma'am. See? The brass part on this bullet.
No, I didn't see anything like that.
Have you emptied your cleaner since you used it this morning?
No.
Wonder if we could see it.
Sure. I don't understand what this is all about, but if you want to see the vacuum, I'll get it.
If you won't tell me where it is, I'll get it for you.
Oh, it's no trouble. In the closet here in the hall.
Can I give you a hand with it?
It's not heavy. You want the attachments, too?
No, ma'am. Just the cleaner itself.
All right. There it is.
Mm-hmm. All right if we use a piece of this newspaper?
Sure, go ahead. I guess you know what you're doing.
This is the way you take the dust bag out?
Yeah, just flip that little catch on the side there.
Mm-hmm.
If you'll tell me what you're looking for, I might be able to help.
How about it, Ray?
Yeah. Here it is.
380?
Yeah.
What's all that mean?
Do you have another gun in the house, Miss Hamlin?
No.
You pretty sure about that?
Yes. What makes you think there might be another one?
Well, how many shots did you hear last night, Miss Hamlin?
What do you mean?
Well, just that. How many shots did you hear?
One.
You sure about that?
Yes, why?
We've got reason to believe that there were 2 shots fired.
What difference does it make how many there were?
Pretty big difference.
Why is it important? My husband killed himself. Can't be sure how many I heard. 1, 2, 3, half a dozen. What difference does it make?
Well, we'll try to explain it to you. Your husband was holding a .38 caliber revolver when we found him. But the bullet that killed him came from a .380 automatic.
I don't know what you're talking about. What are you trying to say?
Well, I think you'll understand this. Your husband didn't kill himself.
You're not serious.
Afraid we are, ma'am.
This whole thing is ridiculous.
The evidence makes it true.
Who'd kill him? Who'd have a reason?
We'd like to know that, too.
What'd you get your mother, please?
What do you want to talk to her about?
What if you'd get her, please?
I'm not going to have her dragged into anything. She's had enough trouble. There's no reason for you to make any more.
Don't worry about it, Nora.
Mother, you shouldn't be out of bed.
I heard the talking. I've been listening. Haven't seen you before. You policeman, too?
No, ma'am. I'm Ray Pinker.
How do you do? Jessie Gaylor, Nora's mother.
How are you?
Now, what's all this about Mr. Hamlin not killing himself?
That's right, Miss Gaylor.
What makes you think it is?
A lot of things. Do you have a gun in the house?
You mean a pistol?
That's right.
Might. Why?
Where is it?
In the table there. left-hand drawer.
I'll get it. How about it? $3.80. That gun belonged to you, Miss Gaylor?
Yes. My husband had it.
Mm-hmm.
All this talk about Mr. Hamlin. If he didn't kill himself, who do you think did?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out.
Uh-huh. But you got somebody you're looking at, haven't you? Somebody you figure did it?
This is your gun.
Uh-huh.
You're the only person who witnessed the shooting.
That's right.
Well, why don't you tell us about it?
Because if I did, you'd never believe it.
Well, give us a try, huh?
All right. Mr. Hamlin came here last night, like I said. He was drunk. Came in and started yelling. I was sitting in that chair reading. He started to curse at me.
Yeah.
I didn't pay him no mind. Told him to go away. But Nora was through with him. He wouldn't go.
Yes, ma'am.
All of a sudden, he pulled out a gun and started waving it around. Said if I didn't get Nora, he'd kill himself. I thought it was just some more of his play acting.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't pay any attention to him. Figured when he was through, he'd go away. I went back to the book. Made him madder than ever.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed the book out of my hand and shot. Shot right at it. Then he threw it into the fireplace.
He threw your book into the fireplace, is that right?
That's right. Just all of a sudden, something happened to me. Don't think I've ever been so mad. I took the gun out of the table there and shot him. Got real scared and ran into the study. Closed the door behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I heard him lock the door and move something up to the door.
Must have been the chair.
Yeah, I guess it was. Right after that, I heard him fall down. Right after that, Nora came into the room. Why didn't you tell me, Mother? Wasn't any reason to. I had to think about it. But I'd done what I had to do. I was going to call you men this morning and tell you the truth. I really was. You believe that?
Well, I guess so.
I really was. Just all of a sudden last night when he shot my book, I've never been so mad. I really wanted to kill him.
You remember it all pretty well, don't you?
Yes, I do. All of it.
You want to get a coat, Miss Gaylor? We'll have to take you downtown.
Yes, sir. I'll do it right away.
Better go with her, Frank.
Yeah.
Is it going to be all right?
We don't decide that, ma'am.
But she told the truth. Isn't that going to make a difference?
We'll put it down that way. You want to get that book, Ray? We're going to need it.
Yeah.
She didn't say a word about it.
Yeah, I know. Story's still pretty hard to believe, isn't it?
Here we are. Here's the book Hamlin shot. Slug's still in it. Looks like a 38.
Mm-hmm.
Might have made her mad enough to kill him.
Yeah?
What is it, Mr. Friday?
Holy Bible.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 14th, trial was held in Department 96, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. Jessie Margaret Gaylor was examined by 3 psychiatrists appointed by the court and found to be insane during the commission of the crime. A sanity hearing was held, and she was made a ward of the state. She was placed in the state hospital at Mendocino for treatment.
This week, a group of men are meeting in New Orleans for the 61st Annual Conference of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. Dragnet is pleased to extend its best wishes to our top law enforcement officers and to thank them for the protection they give our homes and families. May their convention be an outstanding success.
Dragnet.